Come on, bring it on.
Okay.
Let's say it. Give examples,
I want to
innit?
clarify that statement.
Clarify.
So I'm not saying we don't have the access because everyone has the internet nowadays.
Obviously now we definitely doing it, but like maybe what you was on, but also like what information. Sorry, what we don't know as well. So it's not necessarily we don't have access to it. It's more the things that we don't actually know.
You can't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
It's like everyone can go on Google and search like how to become this or like what to do to become that, and you'll get a lot of hits, like a lot of content to read. But what about the things that you don't know to even ask?
Yeah.
So that's my main point. So like when I was speaking about consulting, I didn't actually even know that was a career path. I didn't know that you had to go to Russell Group University. I didn't know you needed all these things in A-level. And what if I knew that at 15 years old? How would my life be different? Would I started consulting a lot earlier? Would I've got the internship in like the Goldman Sachs and done all that kind of stuff? Like if I had that access or like knew to ask those questions. So that's really mainly what I mean by that statement. And just meeting different people. So I done study abroad when I was in university.
Did it?
Yeah. I went to Kansas State University. Yeah.
You got bougie, innit?
Kansas. Yeah. Oh gosh, nah, that's not a bougie place. It's like mid-America. Like a lot of people have never left their town. Like,
oh right.
It was a very eye-opening.
Listen, you travelled, innit?
Yeah. No, for me, obviously, I travelled.
Yeah.
And that showed me. Obviously, I don't want to talk about the US and like because this is a whole different thing. But the lack of access to information, like the Black people I met out there I couldn't even believe it. I was completely shocked by some of the things and statements that were made.
It's worse there than here.
110%. It's just like we know a lot more about the world outside of the UK, whereas they know mostly about kind of their state, their town that they're in.
Yeah.
So it was shocking that some of the questions I was asked about being from the UK and being Black, like it was a concept. It was hard for a lot of people to understand.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk about that too much. I want to focus on the UK. But yeah, I feel like even growing up in school, like luckily I went to a very mixed school in Putney. So we had like people from different places, like as I said, like Putney, Barnes, Wimbledon. Then we had people from like Brixton, Clapham, Battersea, myself, and it was all of us in one school together. But I do strongly believe because we had the Putney, Wimbledon, Barnes people there, that's why our quality of education was good. If our school's in a different area, it would have been completely different. Like,
yeah, elaborate. What do you mean? Why do you think that was?
Because when I think of the schools in my area that predominantly had people, or schools that predominantly had people from certain areas going to them, completely different facilities. Like just from speaking to my friends that went to different schools, like I'm like, oh, you didn't have this? Oh, like no one told you that? Like, what do you mean? Like I'm completely shocked. But obviously I didn't realize that my experience was because of the school I went to.
Yeah.
And like, it's just crazy to think about it.
Because you're open to different lives or different opportunities. So like your perception or your imagination is even bigger. So like you can meet people that are doing, I don't know, interesting like careers and like stuff that you would have never ever thought about.
Exactly. But
it all comes down to the people you've spoken to. Because like even with your environment, it can be quite, I don't know, let's say for example, you've just stayed within your area, everyone lives in your area, your schoolmates, all from the same area.
Yeah.
You're only going to know what's around you.
Exactly. And how would you know more?
Yeah.
Like I remember our prom after party was in like some girl's apartment, like house in Soho. I've never been to Soho before. Like,
wow.
what is that? And like, obviously there's a side of the school that was like, everyone's quite wealthy. Like they lived in like big houses in Notting Hill and stuff.
Yeah.
So like when you're going to house parties and you hang around with that group, you're like, oh wow, like this is very different to like how it would be with my other friends or like, but then it opened my eyes to being like, okay, well, it's fine. Like they're not scary. Like we're still young. We're still in the same year. Like we like the same kind of things. We're just from a different environment. But going to like different places and seeing a different way of life made me think, okay, I mean, they're normal. They have this. It must be attainable.
Yeah. No, it's true, man. Like even in terms of like mixing, in terms of like culture or socializing different races, like I really feel like you learn so much about the different ways of living that you could possibly strive towards.
Yeah.
Like Even just seeing how their communities operate, how they're very close. Like you look at the Jewish community, Turkish community, everyone's it's completely different to ours, isn't it?
Yeah.
But just seeing how they just do things, innit? Even in terms of securing a property, like
Yeah.
they might all want to just live in the same house together, and it's got a strategy to eventually pay off the mortgage and so on.
Forward thinking.
So like it gives you ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying different foods, business ideas, like honestly, even in terms of jobs. So like, yeah, let's even speak about that. So career progression as well. Like, would you say that some of the jobs that you've done, or even in terms of progression, you would have been able to do within the same old circle or environment that you was initially in? Or do you feel like that's come through, I don't know, networking?
To be honest, I've
it might not apply for you, but I know for other people it does.
No, it does. I don't think it applies for me at all. Like, as I said, like growing up, I was always around different types of people.
Oh yeah, you already was.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends as well have been my friends from years, like that were all in a certain level. But a couple of my friends actually, they grew up in like Chesterton and Kingston. So when I'd spend time with them, it's a completely different environment to Battersea. So, and they're like coming to me like, oh, what's the beef going on in your school? Like, we didn't have none of this. Like, they're in a predominantly white area. So they were able to like network and mix with different type of people as well. And it kind of rubbed off of me as well in a sense. Yeah. So, and my older sister, I would never say this to her. So, but she's...
Say it loud.
But she's someone that's never fit in the box and she doesn't care at all. She, you know... She had me listening to like Fall Out Boy, Blink-182, like growing up. Like we're listening to rap, rock, every indie music. So like
even rock, yeah, that's another topic because like some people might exclude you just for listening to that. Obviously, each to their own. If you listen to that, listen to that. But
yeah, like my favorite band was Fall Out Boy when I was younger, and I remember I put it on and I was in like chilling with like loads of people in like a house, and someone was like, "Oh, take off this devil music," da da da, and I was like, "What? Fall Out Boy?" Da, 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 da. But I'm like, in their mind, this pop rock band is like devil music. And I was just thinking like, it's so silly. Like, but that's kind of how you've grown up to perceive things. Yeah. And like the world is so much bigger than like what we think it is.
So in terms of like, let's say the younger generation. Yeah. So they've grown up on technology even more than us. So like when it comes to like real life experiences or even they've got access to information, but they're not really getting certain experiences. So they're not really getting the same sort of learnings that we had, never mind like our parents and so on. So like, do you feel like they are at a disadvantage?
Yes. Do you know what? I feel like they have so much access to like information and content that they don't know what's real or fake. And that's what's scary. Like I have younger siblings and I'm like, this is not real. Like the things that you see, the way people are acting, what they have, sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. And you need to be able to have the skills to like critically think about what you're consuming and be able to be like, haha, yeah, that's funny, but not take it in too much.
But they've got nothing to compare it to.
Nothing.
It's just what they see.
Yeah. Do you know what? I do feel so. I'm so happy I grew up in the time I did because I wouldn't. The pressure for growing up now.
Yeah, because if anything, like we've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So like before and after type of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like they've just been, I don't know, born into the Matrix straight away and they haven't been unplugged. That's how. That's how. Yeah, I rate it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. They are in the Matrix, and what happens on social media is scary. Like. It's good as in like, I don't even know what's good about social media. That we can share things like this.
Yeah.
People are talking, they can see more representation, etc. But I think the social skills are lacking in terms of face-to-face.
100%. I guess to an extent, the way society's moving, a lot of jobs are virtual anyway, innit?
Yeah.
And you can potentially get away with that. However, when it comes to like interviews, you still have to be a bit more personable.
Yeah.
So where are you going to get those sort of like talking skills from?
Exactly. And be able to hold a conversation with people that are not like you. Because
Yeah.
obviously on TikTok, on Instagram, you see things that you like and that you interact with. And then you have this full sense that like everyone likes these things because that's all the content
Yeah.
I'm seeing. Where it's like, no, there's like 10 million other videos on this platform that you're not showing because you're not interacting with.
No, it's true.
So you think that your world is a certain way and
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah. Even in terms of speaking to, like, I think because we've had the best of both worlds, we've had to like mingle with different groups and races and so
Yeah.
on. But because they're in a position where I guess most of the conversation are virtual, maybe with people that are already within the same environment,
Yeah.
they're not really getting the skills to like be versatile or like code switch as much as we would be able to.
Oh, code switching. So do you think that's a good thing? Code switching.
Personally, I don't see an issue with it.
Okay.
I feel like it gives us another like skill.
Okay.
So yeah, I see it in terms of a skill.
That's a good way of speaking.
That's a good way. I see you disagree. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking about, I was on a call for work and it was about like being black in a defense industry. And they're talking about code switching. And then the black guy came on the video and he was like, look, like I used to code switch, but I'm from South London. I ain't doing it no more. Yeah. So I was laughing. I was thinking, oh my God, like he's actually fully not code switching.
Yeah.
We're on a call with all these people and like, good, like confident, like this is how you talk. He was like, I'm not doing it no more. And everyone was just looking at the screen. I was thinking, I was busting up behind mine, but I'm like,
How did you feel? You felt alright? Or do you feel a bit like awkward?
Do you know what? I love it.
Okay,
I feel like I'm such like a drama person. Like I love these like cringy, like uncomfortable moments. And to be honest, I feel like I speak like this normally. So I don't really feel like I code switch, but I feel like my code switching probably started from so young that it's just me now.
Yeah. No, I'll say the same, man. Like, I feel like depending on who I'm speaking to, it naturally changes. It's not even a conscious thing. Because I speak to different people, like I know people have different like lingos or mannerisms. So that's why I see it as a skill. I wouldn't see it as an issue. I'm not saying that people can't just have one way of speaking. That's not a bad thing as well. It's good that he's embracing himself. But I don't know, personally, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. It depends on how you use it. If you're doing it in a way to mask who you really are because you feel ashamed, then I think that's an issue.
Okay. But I think so you're more talking rather than like
mine's more in terms of like speaking in a language in which they'll understand.
Okay.
That's what it's more like a communication thing for them to understand better.
Yeah. And I think being professional as well, because if I'm texting and I'm writing an essay, my language is going to be completely different because it's in two different contexts.
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of an equivalent. Like, I'm not going to text how I write an essay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean I'm changing who I am. It means I'm applying the appropriate language for the situation.
100%.
So that's kind of how you...
Yeah, 100%. And I don't even see it as a race thing because like it's all comes down to the language that certain people use to speak. So whether you're white or not, you can speak the same way that I would speak naturally. And so, okay, I don't even know what's natural to me. I can't lie. But do you get what I mean? So I think that's the thing. So like in terms of, younger generation, like kind of peak. So they're just being consumed by entertainment, social media. So like what real stuff are they actually taking in? They're not really getting all the skills that they should be getting. However, I don't know, they've got the opportunities. That's the difference. They've got the most resources that any of us have ever had. But at the same time, they've got no reason to, well, they might feel as if they've got no reason to get these sort of like core or manual skills.
To be honest, I don't know if it's because I'm older and like, obviously as you get older, you mature, but I just feel like their personalities are a bit lacking as well. Like
really?
I don't see any like differentiation between personalities a lot. Like I feel like everyone has a similar personality of kids I meet. And I'm like, was I like that as a team? Because I'm hiding my real self against to like older people. And I guess that's a sense like we wasn't our full selves as teenagers in front of adults. Like obviously not. But I just feel like I don't really
Are you sure that's a bit of a interesting statement? You're saying that they're all the same?
I'm not saying that they're all the same. I'm just saying personalities. I'm seeing maybe 5 core personalities.
That's mad.
I don't know. That's
what
just,
do you mean in terms of like social media, or do you mean like in terms of the people that you've come across? So, like
the people that I've come across. I mean, my sister's older, so my brothers are younger.
Oh, okay.
But again, similar personalities. I'm like, you were completely different kids growing up. But then again, they could have they could be hiding themselves because obviously I'm an adult now. Like, as much as I think, oh yeah, I'm young, I'm one of you, like I'm actually an adult. So they may not be showing their real selves in front of me. And that's probably happened for years upon years upon years.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't really see different personalities.
No, fair enough. So like in terms of like other things that, let's say, our community don't really know about, what would you say they are? Because I feel like there's a lot. There's definitely a lot.
I know, there's things I don't know. So I couldn't say everything that people don't know. I guess just the choice we have as well in our lives and how things pan out for us.
Yeah.
Even I was speaking to like a family friend the other day, and she was speaking about she's going to college. And like she wants to go to a certain school, but they didn't carry her courses. And it was like this school was in predominantly black area with black students. And it's like she didn't actually have the choice. Like they didn't offer that module or that course. And I was thinking, wow, like I wonder if other schools in different areas would have the same issue. So, and if you do want to study that course, then you've got to go out of your area, you've got to kind of go on this bus and this train to get there. And that's just another element of like stress for college. So it's more like that access to getting the information you need to go to the places that you need to go. Like, do we have that? I doubt it in most schools.
That's true. Even in terms of like, I know we said career already, but like, let's say life insurance as well. I don't know if that's that's something that is improving or not in terms of our community deciding to get or not. But like, that can save a lot of GoFundMe pages having to go up because death, we're all gonna die in it at some point. But that in itself can put someone in debt.
I feel like, are we superstitious?
What?
Do you think that's why people don't have
Possibly,
it?
You're thinking like the moment you apply.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
That's
what are you trying to say? Like, I honestly feel like that's what it is. I feel like death is a taboo subject. And I feel like it needs to become more of like I don't know, like a normal thing to speak about. I'm not saying speak about so much, like speak about life much, but I mean in terms of like having the life insurance there, I feel like that can save so many financial issues within our community. Yeah,
no, 100%. But I also feel like that's information that hasn't been passed down. So like life insurance obviously costs money, and not saying everyone, obviously there are black middle class people, but kind of looking back of like first generation, second generation people, they may not have the extra money every month to put into this plan. They may need their priority, maybe another plan. So it's like now we're coming to a stage where we have more disposable income and we can actually spend money on that. You would inherently think, why wouldn't we do it? But if it's not the norm in our household or has never been taught to us, it's not something that we would automatically go to.
No, it is. You're speaking facts, to be honest, because if you got other things to focus on, why are you gonna decide to give that extra money which you really need,
that you're never gonna benefit from? Your family would, but we like.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, so it's not even something you're gonna benefit from. So it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, but obviously when you think about family planning, like everyone wants to leave money for their family.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of like what you were saying before. It's all about that forward thinking in a way.
Yeah. And forward thinking is a luxury.
Yeah.
Of like being so secure in your right now that you feel like your plan is going to be fulfilled in 5 years. Whereas like traditionally, everyone's had to think about like the next month. So also those skills wasn't passed down.
Yeah.
So how do we learn to do that if that has never been the case for us or the communities that we've been in?
Yeah. No, it's true though, because like I feel like it depends on your sort of level in terms of like finances. Like, because if you can afford to do it, then go for it. But I don't know if it should necessarily be something that everyone should do, especially if you haven't really got the extra money on the side. However, it's something that we do need to look into.
Yeah, 100%. Because at the end of the day, when you need the money, you want it to be there. You want to be able to leave like a large, especially if you have like a good income. And if something does happen to someone, unfortunately and tragically, you want to be able to leave your family something so they're not kind of in the red if something was to ever happen. But again, at work as well, in a lot of contracts I've been in at work, we have life assurance. So if you pass away during you work in this place, you get like 5 times your salary given to your next of kin.
But how many people know that?
But the thing is, it's a benefit. So when you join a new company, you're meant to sign who it should go to. But I'm saying how many companies offer that in the job roles that we go for.
Yeah.
So traditionally, if you're in a job role that's more like shift work or something like that, you may not have a life assurance benefit. Like those things are normally reserved for like more higher paying careers.
Yeah.
And if that hasn't been the case, or your someone's not in one, then
no, that's true. Even health, I guess in America it's bigger, like in terms of like health insurance and so on. But like even here, like knowing what we can get access to in terms of work contracts as well, like trying to get some sort of health insurance, medical insurance.
Yeah.
There's so many perks or benefits that we can potentially be getting, but we don't actually know.
Yeah, I mean they are, and then that's also people kind of shunning the 9-to-5 culture a bit, I guess, in the last few years. Of saying like, obviously, some people want to be entrepreneurs, some people want to work 9-to-5, whatever you want to do, completely up to you. But there are other benefits to being in a 9-to-5, such as private medical care, life assurance, paid holidays, sick leave. If anything was to happen to you, your pay will be covered for however many weeks. Stuff like that. It's not just your base salary that you need to think about when you go into a 9-to-5. It's all the other stuff too.
That's true, man. Like when you were speaking of this topic, what would you, on your heart, like what do you think was the main thing that came to mind?
On what? On the
so like just the lack of access or not knowing about what's actually there.
I think more opportunities for young people, like different career paths. Like I think in general across all communities, kids nowadays want to do like more entertainment, online content creator, which is like natural because of obviously everything that they see, and it's very lucrative. So why wouldn't you? But kind of bringing it back to the Black community, just kids that are maybe not so confident in front of or behind the camera that actually want to do a 9-to-5 in consulting, being a doctor, being a lawyer, whatever it is. And those are just 3 careers. There's so many other careers out there. Like it's crazy. Like
there's so many, but because it's not common within our community, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't even know how much they get paid, for example.
Exactly.
So like when it comes to like maybe parents, they might have a specific view of like certain jobs or fields you should go into. But when you come up and say you want to, I don't know, be a content creator, or you want to do something completely different that they've never heard of, it might seem a bit mad, but they don't actually know how much value is in those sort of roles or fields.
Yeah.
And so in terms of like what they're going to advise to their children, it's very limited. So then this is where other races can like have a sort of advantage, because they've been in different sort of positions. They've been exposed to like many types of people, even in terms of finances, like they, I guess as a whole, they are higher up in it. And so we haven't been in a positions enough to be going back and sharing our sort of knowledge in terms of what else is out there.
Yeah.
Because no, go on.
No, I was going to say, this might be a loaded question, but do you feel like we look down on service roles? So like, a bin man, or I shouldn't say man, but a bin, I don't know the formal word.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Or like someone who owns off license. I don't know, any service jobs. Yeah, I feel like, and those are lucrative careers.
Yeah, I think we genuinely do, because I think we probably see that as our sort of level, if anything. Like those are jobs that we might feel like we can do. But
I don't see anyone doing them, hardly. And they are very lucrative
and
careers.
And that's the mad thing. Have you seen a black off license?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like you've seen one of like pretty much every other culture. Like okay, even in Kent, like I've seen like white corner shops and so on. But like I've never ever seen a black off license. But like you said, we don't actually know how much money people are making. Yeah, people can be making loads of money. You can make loads of money out of anything.
Exactly.
I think as long
as your business plan is right, you've got good supply and demand. You can make money.
Well, I think that's the issue. Like we feel like there's only certain ways to make money, but there's value in anything.
But also, just one caveat to that
go on.
is that to start these businesses, you do need a loan. a lot of the time.
Yeah,
You need
yeah.
capital. And if you go into a bank, how likely are they going to be
But
to
listen,
lend you?
a lot of these Asians are also coming from the same sort of struggles as us, innit? But they have a strategy.
But I can't speak for all Asians or what happens, but a lot of the time there's community pots, community funding.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's true.
And like people share
Yeah.
the wealth,
Yeah.
spread the wealth, help. Like, for example, like how you have like a whole street of people from the same community living together. It's because when a house goes up to sell, they're going straight in and saying, look, my friend wants to buy. Can you buy?
Yeah.
They have, there's like real estate agents for specific communities that they only like network to people in that
100%.
community. I don't know any black ones. So it's also that kind of, those kind of things as well.
I think that's what we need to do more as well. I think it's we're not too far off. Okay, we are far. I'm gonna be real, we are far in it. But what I'm saying is like by us getting into certain positions and coming back to share how we've got there, and I don't know, bringing people in other opportunities, whether it's like a job position or I don't know, whatever it is, just sharing knowledge in it. I feel like that's one way for us to kind of like even the playing field in a way, or work towards it at least.
This may be a controversial statement as well, but not being as money motivated.
100%.
Like, I'm not very money motivated. Obviously I like money. I like things, but it doesn't form like the basis of my decision making if I'm going into something. And I feel like because a lot of people from our community like are very like money motivated and like they want to keep their money, like they want to buy all these things and stuff, but a lot of the times when you see other communities, like they have money, but they would give it to someone else before like they buy this Aston Martin. Like they realize they don't need it and they'd rather share the wealth within the community. Whereas I don't think we've quite got there yet. Like people have abundance of stuff that they can't possibly use in this lifetime. Just so they say they have it. And like that's something that I think we need to.
When will we realize that we already know we're putting too much value in materialistic stuff, but when will we realize that enough's enough in it? Like we need to
I have
cut
no
that
idea.
Because like I don't think it's changing. Personally, I feel like it's still the same. If anything, it's increasing. Personally,
I feel like when it becomes boring, and when it becomes
I don't think it will get boring.
I think when I think the black middle class is building, and when everyone starts to have the same, or a majority of people start to have money and start to have the same things, and it's like, okay, we've been here, done this now. Like we don't need to stun each other anymore. Like what's the point? Like.
Okay, so you see it as like new money, innit? So like everyone's still getting used to Okay, cool.
See, like bring this back to history, but see like that concept of like mutually assured destruction. Like everyone has nuclear weapons, no one's using them because everyone has it. And it's just going to be like a mad thing. Like once everyone has it, no one's gonna spend. Like no one's gonna need to use it because it's like who be signing on each other. It's
that's what it is though.
Like so we can start bringing up everyone else.
But I feel like that's the issue. Like we can get this inner sort of drive to eventually stunt on everyone else because like I've got it, you guys haven't got it. Yeah,
but then it becomes a point where it's like when you stunt on people that don't have much, like you got to look at yourself and be like, no, that's really disgusting of me to like want to stunt on someone with a £5,000 jacket and they're like struggling for their next meal. And it will come to a point where it's so like distasteful to be like that no one's going to want to be like that. But we're just not there yet because we do have like a lot of working class people that are fine. So like it's fine to stunt on me. Like it's not, you don't feel bad. But when it becomes a point where most people are middle class and you're stunting on people that actually don't have much, then it's like, come on.
You know what it is? I feel like also a lot of our conversations are basically full of nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the honest truth. I feel like that's why we're also not really gaining the information that we really need because we spend so much time with each other, whether it's like motives, whatever it is. But like, what are we actually speaking about most of the time?
Who should pay for the first date?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you got that, you got motives, you got shows, you got celebrities.
Yeah.
Our focus has been so much on things that are not necessarily gonna benefit us.
No, that can be a silent conversation. Like that doesn't even need to be a conversation. It could be like a one person thing. Like And do you know what I feel like as well? We're always trying to convince each other of things and like change other people's opinions. Like that's one thing that kind of irks me. Like if she believes that he should pay on the first date and you don't, okay, that's fine. We don't need to discuss it anymore. We don't need to have a 2-hour debate.
You see how much passion there is for people to still speak about it.
But it's like they don't agree.
Yeah,
it's fine. Like we can move on.
Yeah.
Like, but I feel like we just keep on like going on and on and on.
Yeah.
Like what's the point?
That's what I'm saying. Like we spend time wasting time.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like use that same energy for something else.
Exactly.
Like, so I don't know, man. But I feel like to an extent it is changing in a way where we are seeing different people in different spaces. So like we are seeing people that are also sharing knowledge in terms of like how they got there, and there's more insight into what we can actually do.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I feel like it's taking too long. Personally. I know everything requires patience, innit? But I feel like things can be sped up a bit.
Yeah. But I feel like you make the change with yourself. Like
100%.
I can't want something with someone that they don't want for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned, and I'm focusing on myself. Like it might be a bit selfish, but I can't, I can't force someone to do something that they don't want to do or they're not ready to do. What I can do is influence people that are around me and people that I choose to spend their time with if they want my advice.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then that's completely up to you.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing as well. Like we focus so much on trying to convince people.
Yeah.
But just do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that in itself will change the representation.
Yeah.
Because we spend so much time in we just like talking.
Yeah.
Can't lie.
Sound of our voices.
So, boy, I don't know, man. What else would you say people need to know about?
In work wise?
No, it's just life, innit? Like, what don't we know?
I don't think people know how good study abroad is. Going abroad for schooling.
Cool. Yeah.
That changed my whole life for the better. Not because the education was amazing in America, no. Okay,
let me hear before and after, innit? How was you like before?
I feel like I was, I don't want to say a people pleaser, but I wasn't as like confident in like my choices and me. Like I wasn't like, I don't really care what you have to say. Like this is who I am. Like,
yeah.
But I don't know if that was because I went to America and like the girls there are very unapologetic. So I feel like that rubbed off on me a bit. Like, obviously, as Brits, we're still very British in the way we act and like what the temperament is, and it's very different. So going to America made me more like, I don't, but this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be. And that's it. Like, I don't feel the need to try to please people, like do all these things. Meeting new people, going on road trips and just having a really good time. Non-judgment as well. Like, I feel like black women are judged a lot. Like the way you look, the way you talk, the way you dance. Like if you talk to a boy for too long in a party, if you're talking to too many boys in this party, like, oh my gosh, you got to do a CRB on her. Like there's all these like rules and like regulations, and it puts you into a box of like this like neat thing that you feel like you have to do to get chosen, like to be worthy of like being someone's girlfriend. And in America, they don't have that. Like it's obviously they have like how they want, but do they really have what they want their girls to be like? They don't really. Like they take you at face value of like what they've seen. They're not like influenced by what their friends have to say as much. Like I feel like in the UK, a lot of people are influenced by like what their group of boys have to say or what the group of girls have to say. And it's just like this collective thinking. Whereas I don't have that anymore, like very individual thinking.
Facts.
It's a lot.
Yeah, no, you just make me think, I think it's just that exposure to different ways of living.
And just not caring anymore.
And not caring, yeah.
And that helps with imposter syndrome as well. If you're just like, you know what? I really don't care what you have to say or what you think. This is what I'm doing.
It's true, but everything in society tells you to care. So it's hard for people not to care.
Yeah.
But it's possible. You just have to make that decision. Like,
yeah.
Regardless of even whether it's positive or negative, you got to decide what you want to take in.
Yeah.
Because we do that anyway. I I think reading as well. I don't know if you read.
I've started to read
Okay,
more.
you need to step on it, mate.
I don't like
joking.
reading, you know.
Yeah.
I've never liked it.
Never have I. I've only just started like maybe since like January, December, and honestly, I feel like it's very helpful, innit?
What do you read?
Mine's more like self-development books.
I knew you was gonna say that.
So why?
I feel like, that's the only thing boys read.
No, it's good though, because like I feel like that's what's gonna bring about change as well in terms of your mindset. Out of the mind comes every form of behavior.
No, yeah. No,
So,
I do agree in those kind of books, but I feel like that's a common thing that boys read. Like, that's the only things I see.
No, but it's great. Honestly, like I feel like
I didn't see much self-development in a lot of people reading these books.
Well, it takes time, innit? But also they got to start implementing it. But the first point is theory, innit? Then you got to do the practical, innit?
I'm just not seeing a lot of practical. That's my point.
Yeah, like you said, you've only seen it recently, innit? So you got to wait for it to marinate.
No, boys have been reading, was it Rich Dad, Poor Dad since like 2013. Yeah, I ain't seen. That's when I first.
Yeah, you're being too harsh in it. But yeah, because of course, people reading those type of books also in terms of trying to get, I don't know, be successful in general, innit?
Yeah.
So they have to also implement those things, innit? In the end of the day, they're just getting form of information that they never ever had access to before.
Yeah.
So now you know it. It's up to you whether you follow it or not.
Yeah, okay. I won't be harsh.
Yeah, so that's with anything, innit? The difference is now there's no excuses, innit? So I feel like it's good that more people are jumping on that wave. What else would you say you've noticed in terms of like, I don't know, the rise in terms of like knowledge? I guess loads of people are trying to move on to like trying to get property and so on, trying to be financially literate and so on.
Yeah.
So that is on the up.
Yeah, definitely, which is really good. Really good to see. I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of pressure these days to like have everything like together. As you're saying, this perfection, striving for perfection. So rising knowledge of properties and like how to go about mortgages, etc. But also, what else? Rising. I'm trying to think. What are people better at nowadays? The thing is, I don't actually see a lot of content of like people's like grades or like graduations and stuff anymore. I don't know if it's because I'm out of that age bracket now, so obviously it'll probably be a bit less. But I don't know.
I see on LinkedIn. So what I wanted to say as well, actually, in terms of role models, most of our so-called role models are in like the same old sort of like categories, whether like they're artists or athletes. And I think that representation needs to be increased for us to receive different forms of information. So it's similar to what we were saying before, innit? But I feel like they place one of the biggest responsibilities in terms of like the form of information we receive, because I know they go by the phrase of like social influences as well. They honestly influence society, innit?
See, I struggle with that though.
Why?
Because if it's just because you like someone's music or like what they like wear or like clothes that they produce, it doesn't mean that they need to be your role model. Like I feel like role models should be some people that like are in close proximity to you, that you can actually benefit from their company, from like the way they carry themselves. Yeah. So like,
no, you're right.
This idolization of people, like obviously when you think of people that are, you know, crazy influential, that have done amazing things outside of music and like performance and clothes, I'm like, yeah, like cool, but I just think it's more beneficial to have someone that's in close proximity to you.
No, I agree. That's the same. I wouldn't say there's any specific famous person that's my role model, but in reality, a lot of people do see them as role models, innit? But I feel like the emphasis needs to be on your inner sort of circle, but who have you got around you as well? I feel like that's important as well.
Oh, just in general. I was like, me. Yeah, exactly. And like peer to peer as well. Like at the end of the day, the people that you most interact with are like your partner or your friend. Yeah. So like if you can't look up to the people that you interact with on a daily basis, like...
You saying they got to go, yeah?
Not that they've got to go, but you've got to evaluate like the type of advice that you take from these kind of these people. Like the value of their opinion in your life. Because if you're telling me you don't look up to someone, why would you possibly follow their advice or like take in what they have to say to you? That doesn't make any sense. But you speak to them all the time and they influence a lot of the way you think and a lot of the content you watch.
You're right. Because your inner circle influences you the most, probably.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're consuming the most.
Yeah.
So, like, I honestly feel like that needs probably the biggest evaluation. And
it's not saying that, like, oh, drop people out and do all these things, because I don't believe in that either. But just, like, be recognized that, like, your 5 closest friends or 3 closest friends are a representation of who you are as a person. So if you look at your 3 closest friends and think, oh, would I want people to see me like them or not? You've got to really think about what they're doing or what you guys are doing together and try to like build each other up. And if you can't, then I would say try to socialize with other people as well. Like, don't drop your friends out. Of course not. But just expand your circle.
100%. I'll say the exact same thing. I don't feel like you have to drop them, but just increase your circle then. Like, because you got to be careful what you consume in the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're right, man. It's honestly going to shape everything you do. So if you're literally just receiving information from people that basically just chat rubbish in it, or it's not beneficial, then
just like, oh my gosh.
Stress.
And relationships as well. Like, who you choose to like spend your life with, and if they don't give you good advice, or and you can't take it in. Or for me, I feel like I have a lot to say. I feel like I do have some good opinions. And if I'm with someone who I feel like doesn't value what I have to say at all, then that's a no-go for me, because I feel like you don't have good self-evaluation skills. Like, you're not able to like really reflect and make a change like you need to be. Then I can't move forward with this. Like, my mum, growing up, she's not critical, but she's very like, if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. Like, I'm not going to pretty things up for you just so you can digest it. And that's made me be like, like, if I'm doing something wrong, or like if I'm not good at something, I need to admit it and try to get better, or accept it. Like, don't be trying to like be trying to ignore it. Like, it doesn't work like that.